She's a complex figure driven by necessity and survival instinct. Growing up on the streets has taught her to rely on her wits and charms to get by. With her striking beauty, she's learned to use it as a tool to manipulate situations and people, often targeting the wealthy individuals too. She's not your average, but someone who's been shaped by her harsh environment and harsh by a unique set of skills of navigated. Her group's dynamic and their methods are likely owned from years of experience, making them a formi- formidable team in their own right. People called them forbidden flowers as lost flowers. They were famous that but nobody could ever see them. They walked in between rich people like them and act like them. She was famous among the rich even though they never saw or recognized her. They wanted her the forbidden flower. They wanted her. She knew that everyone was crazy for her, even though she. But the stories of her beauty made men go crazy. Her group was full of beautiful people. Iris, Erin, and Star. All were beautiful, but people want one because she was their head. People saw her as a luck, but in reality, she was fighting with them. She was fighting with poverty. She never wanted it. She was afraid of it. She was lost. A loser who did everything to survive. She has an aura nobody has. She got herself a forbidden flower, and people started calling her it dead. Nobody knew about her real name. She was surviving. The forbidden flower. One was sitting on the sidewalk of the street while massaging her legs. Her hair was shattered but in a beautiful way. Her mascara was sprayed in her eyes. Her eyes were tired, and she wanted to sleep. He came back from a place. He was alone in that street while people were sleeping in their house. She wasn't afraid of streets because most of her childhood spent there. She wasn't that girl. She knew how to protect herself. She didn't know. No to get caught. She smiled while looking at the street at the downfall and made it gothic scene. She was so happy. She got what she wanted. It was dangerous, but she was fine. She wasn't afraid of doing dangerous talks. It was her life. Danger was the part of her life. She got up while smiling and started walking. She wrapped her in my room, grabbed the jacket around herself. She opened the door of her apartment. Her friend face light up after seeing her. She entered and when finally you come back, where were you? Star said. Man walked towards the table and grabbed the bottle of water and drank it. Iris, do you keep the money safe? Yes, babe. She looked at Star and sleep. One said while smiling, and Star also smiled. She was so conscious about her beauty. Her real name wasn't Star, but yes, because of her pale skin and beauty, they called her Star. She was beautiful and she answered Star. She took care of herself so much. She never let anyone touch her arm and skin. After hearing one smile, she smiled and nodded, I'm going to sleep. Joanne came and laid down. She was feeling good, but it was dream too. He was so powerful, but still she managed to. He is nothing in front of me. She smiled. I will become more than him. She closed her eyes, but suddenly someone pulled back the hair from her beautiful face and she opened her eyes. Iris, not now. Then what? Then when one came, you know about me and don't want to talk about it right now. Let's talk tomorrow. Why don't you always ignore this matter? Because this matter matters to me. Understand? Iris, please go. I'm tired. We will talk about it someday. Someday she nodded. He got up angry and walked her while banging the drum. And she hated this. While she didn't understand. She hated men's rich. Why they couldn't treat women with love. She was finding a man like this who was gentle, but it was hard for that to find in this world. His lifestyle is a reflection of his wealth and status with private jets, luxury homes, and exclusive experience that showcases his taste. Every aspect of his life seems to protection from his high-end fashion sense to his indolence, his wealth and influence. He is a man of immense power and influences with wealth and status that grant him unparalleled access to everything he desires. Women are drawn to him effortlessly, and his every wish wishes without question. His loyal lineage make him virtually untouchable with a sense of invisibility. Yet around this surrounds him like a shield. His perspective about love was different. He hated love because he didn't want to become weak, and he thought that when people fall in love, they became weak. He didn't want to have any weakness. He thought that his money and status would go away if he fall in love. He had no weakness. He was only given goal to achieve high position in the. It was not difficult for him to have everything he wanted. Now he opened his eyes and smiled. The blessed day he sat on and bought the expensive soft casual wear. He looked at himself in the big mirror and smiled. He grabbed his glass and drank from it. No one is more pretty and more powerful than Jungkook. He said while smiling, and his smile fell after an intense bang on the door of his room. He closed his eyes out of frustration. He put the glass and opened the door. Now what happened, Evan? I mean, was last night someone stole your money from your farmhouse. They stole everything, even a penny. Jungkook's sudden attention took over him. He caught up. How can someone did that? I mean, it was under your security. They stole it even in between so many guards. Evan was breathing heavily and he was so worried, and we need to find that. Go find. I want. And how did they touch my power? He walked out angrily in a night suit and Evan followed him. While on the other hand, one was sitting with their friends while having a beautiful lunch. It felt beautiful too. It felt beautiful to eat after getting what you want. Yeah, I love it. I don't believe we did that. I mean, he's so powerful. They all started laughing. They were making fun of his power and position while they went so peacefully. They went so busy with so many things. She even donated money from those who needed it. She wasn't aware of the cause. He entered the farmhouse and looked at it. The gates of the guards were cast downwards. He was scared of him. He silently walked towards the couch and sat down on it. Evan stood behind him. He was staring at the guards whose eyes were afraid to look up at him. A guard tried to look at him and he signed him to put the coffin in his cup. The guard nodded and walked towards him early, and he grabbed the cup and threw the hot coffee. How can someone enter here and we need security? He said. His voice was full of rage and had got used in pain. He started to find something to wipe his face because his skin was burning, but Jungkook took the water on him and tell me. The guard wiped the water and his voice was slow. He tried to speak. Boss, we were all busy. Jeff, tell the city, why are you hurting? What are you doing? If you don't want us to come, not hurting this time, I just don't you want to put the that guard became afraid and boss we were having a party and this happened. Are you serious, Jeff? Jungkook turned into dark. Boss, we are really sorry. Forgive me this time. This will happen never again. He said was sitting on his knees in front of him. His voice was shivering as his, don't you know how much the amount? Yeah, money matters to me so much, but just because of you, they all stole it. All of you guys started banging, but he got pissed. You all have 2 days to find them. Bring them to me. Okay, boss. We will throw them in your fish. They are nothing in front of you. He got up and wanted to go over. There even noted and they walked towards the place where the money was. Guards opened the door and he entered. He looked at the place and that was empty. His expensive and unique things, everything was gone. He looked at the whole place and his guard was checking it without moving or doing anything. On his spot, he was staring at the place. Suddenly, his eyes got shiny. In the corner, he stuck in from running, bring that thing to me. It is in the corner. So Evan nodded and kept in the corner. He found that locket. He looked at it and he then looked at Jungkook. He smiled towards him. It's a locket. Jungkook grabbed it and stared at it. He leaned towards it and now smiled at it. It was the fragrance was so fascinating. It's a girl's locket. You can feel woman's perfume. Find this girl and want her hair. Okay, boss. Jungkook looked at the locket and smiled. He kept sniffing it while closing his eyes. At night, the day has fallen into darkness and we became alone. Nobody was there with us. She was laying on bed while staring at the ceiling. Her eyes were twitching and she didn't know how to control her tears. The flashback of horrible past were coming into her mind. She sat on an abdomen and looked around the room, and it was not like the was written reproach her, but she rejected her because she didn't like men. She had a concept about men in her mind. Elsie man had hurt her so much, that's why she hated him. Iris was so handsome and kind, but the trauma she didn't let her go further. She came out and started walking. She assumed the behavior of people. She was walking between them like she was normal like them. Nobody knew the job we were walking in between us. Suddenly she stopped after seeing a little boy talking to his friends while smiling. She smiled after seeing them, but suddenly she heard the laughter of boys. She looked on the other side of the road and some boys were making fun of a homeless man. She walked towards them and stood in front of them. She didn't say anything and just watched them. After seeing them, her past was coming into her mind. Her past was similar to these people, and also laughed at her when she lived on the roads. After noticing her friends, they looked at her and stared at them. Why are you standing here? Just go, she smiled and said she just removed her coat and showed them her coffee before I do something bad. She looked at the homeless man and put the big amount of money in front of him. He looked at her surprisingly and confused. This is for you. He started thanking her, but she started walking while getting lost in her bad memories. Well, it was hard to forget the past. Many people forgot it but she couldn't. The next day, Janko was sitting in the garden and the fragrance of the flower was surrounded him. He was having breakfast. He was sitting in the luxurious garden and he was born rich. He never cared for anything. While thinking about his life, he grabbed the cup of his coffee and took a sip. He looked was the place in front of him. He looked at it and his mind went to many girls. Without letting anyone know about her, he met with many girls and now he was thinking about her. She confused him. He was lost in his was suddenly his friend came and stood in front of him. He started to doubt everyone because everyone told him that Forbidden Flower was her second nickname. She had her identity. He stared at his friend's neck and suddenly realized she was not her. Nothing, was you doing something? She said in front of him, I have something for you. Please fulfill my request, please. First tell me. I'm invited to a party and so please give me there. Why it's possible? It's impossible because I'm so busy. Why please come to me? I don't want to go there without you. Why do you always do this to me? Why are you making me feel realize that I'm no one? She became sad. You always used to go with your exes, why not me? I'm your friend and we are so close. Can't you do this to me? I have no one except you. You are the only one I have. But you always ignore me. Why you? I won't ask anything again. She got up and he addressed and okay, I will go with you. He behaved with her with so much love. His parents died when her parents died when she was living alone. I did everything for her. She had a special place in his heart. He liked her baby, but not love her. She talked with him about her day and many things that they would wear these outfits with the same color. Personally, he hated her, but she was doing that just for her. Everyone was wearing her shoes and they all were getting ready to do all. But suddenly, when you were invited to a party, I said and one looked at him. You should go. I will not. I will go with you. He ran looked at him. No. What's wrong with you, Van? Because I don't want to go with you. And that's my last decision. And no, don't ask me again. The atmosphere changed and he started laughing and tried to clear the atmosphere. Well, it was common between them because I hated her short tempered and he loved it so much. He had and after saying autumn, I will buy the dress for you. Okay guys, let's go now. They all packed their stuffs and walked out to learn about new petition, a new location where each paper did there. After a week, one was standing in front of the mirror while looking at herself. Yeah, her dress was like she was looking so beautiful. Her dress was good. She had a diamond necklace around her neck, which was enhancing the beauty of her. She attended so many parties, but today her heart was not ready to go. She wanted to stay, but bells were coming into her mind. The guards opened the door of the car and for her she came out. They were there. Then nobody asked her about her business because they knew that if they were at the party, they just be rich. She smiled and walked inside. She entered and there were so many people. She was alone, but most of the people came with waters. She walked in them and sat on the chair. Many women standing while talking to each other. She smiled while he was looking at her with smiley eyes. His hands were in pockets and he couldn't stop looking at her. Nobody stared at her before like this. She pretended to ignore him and walked to talk with Moman. Maya was sitting beside him and she was waiting for Jungkook to finish. One looked at her and then to Jungkook just was telling her Mia was so loving anything. Why didn't want to stare at him because she didn't like the man. She believed that he would have found her about her. He was confident to show her confidence. She got up and walked to his advantage. She ordered something for herself and buy what she was ordering. Man, giving her hand towards the watchman. Jungkook came to Van. Van and I know you are from Jaws. You know, did we meet before? No, I see you for the first time. He hummed. Do you come alone? Don't you have someone in your life? Yes, I don't need anyone. Nice. She didn't understand why he was talking to her. What is your business? He asked. She didn't want to tell him. Ask him. She blamed her as he was standing in them. He couldn't take his eyes off them. His beautiful eyes staring into her soul. She took a reflex decision. This permit to ask people about the business. Huh? Again, he smiled with eyes. I like your cleverness. He smiled. And again, he smiled. I will not let him go away from me now. She walked towards them and Jungle, let's go. They walked. Looked. They both looked at her and again. Looked and went without saying anything and walked away and helpless and one never get scared of anyone left before. But he made her be scared. She saw him going out. She came and took off everything. She was so pissed and tired, but Harris entered the room and she looked at him. He was hiding something behind his neck. Now what do you want? I'm sorry, sir, for putting the flowers in front of her. I shouldn't have walked towards her and stared into her eyes. Forgive me. I'm starting to become a good man first for you. I love you. I love everything about you. I promise I won't hurt you again. I love your eyes, your everything. Sometimes I don't want to accept me, but sometimes something was stopping her. He was handsome and having a good style, but she didn't want to go for more than friendship. But he was trying more than 3 years. One wanted to accept me. Why are you thinking? Just give me 1 week. I will accept you. His fashion expansion. She was about to hug her, but she started, but she didn't forget the trauma. I'm sorry, I can't wait to become your groom. She smiled and they sat on. He asked her about the party and she told him everything she didn't tell him about Jungkook. While on the other hand, I'm amazed about how someone there stole her. And a woman, how? Someone was Jungkook's friend and also Jungkook was sitting while holding the locket and looked at him. What do you think that woman can't do this if I'm going to play with a strong one and this is nothing? He looked at him and you are saying like you do. Someone played with you. No woman can play with me, but women are more powerful than you thought. My mother was more powerful than my father. I believe that a woman is behind all this terror. But she doesn't know she left a scar on my left chest because I love my money. She didn't know what she did. After a week, the drive was so beautiful and right after she felt that she was wearing a capsule colored dress which reflected her beauty so much. She was so happy today. Today she was ready to tell Alice about her feelings and accepted him. She was happy to be with him. They were together for years, but he really loved her. This had anger she wanted how to deal with it. She entered the house. They voted for her and the night came. One was talking to her friends and she did everything. So one was really enjoying it. Daddy was doing everything, which was clearly a surprise for one. She knew about it. Now one was trying to prepare something, but suddenly Aaron's cell phone started ringing and he picked up the call and his face fell. I looked at stars and let's go, let me change first. I'm not afraid of them. Why are you crazy? They are changes. Let's go. They grabbed her hand and ran out. They wore their jackets and ran out of there to save their lives. Now everyone hid in their different places because they ran together, but got separated. It was the first time someone found out about them. I knew that what was coming from, but he would not leave her. She was ready to, but with fears, but not with fear. She was standing there under the shed thinking about her life. Nobody knew that she had here, and if this was her place before, because everyone was hiding in different places. She was standing silent, but I believe that nobody would catch her. But he was forbidden flower, and she looked at him, a tall man standing in front of her while smoking car. She didn't see him, I just stood there. She wasn't afraid of anyone, though he was screaming, "Come with me." He dragged her, she dragged him, banging because it was against her dignity. They threw her in the car and drove off. Now he threw her hair on the floor, smoked while looking at her. He was doing this because he couldn't bear the insult. "I will show you who I am." The other girls started in his hair and they started every she is in pain. She started fighting, but she didn't scream or did her trauma. While on the other hand, Alice looked at the house worriedly while holding flowers and gifts to her and Irene. Was that safe, but they didn't know where Weinman was. He wasn't picking up the call. He was calling her, trying to track her location like crazy. He checked every place where she used to hide, but he was angry looking at the floor. He threw everything and ran out. While on the other hand, Wine fell down on the floor after getting like a beast. When blood was coming out and she was feeling like her bones got broken. She was feeling like she was going to die. Her mind was blank. She didn't know what to do or think. Her hair was wet because of. Jeff happily looked at his cell phone and Jungkook picked up the call. "Boss, we caught the girl who did that. Okay, we'll be back in 2 hours, so wait for me on the phone." Okay, boss, he cut the call and Jungkook was out of the country. Now let's do a party. Boss will give us a bonus after what we did. And they cheered and started partying without caring about her. After 2 days, Iris tried to find her, but all in vain. He was running out of tension. He couldn't bear the pain of her being getting away from him, but finding her was not so easy, so he didn't know. So when he was ready to get caught, they could ride a vine and by her arms and stand by near the fire. The fire was burning her skin. She is best we deserve this because of you we did deserve. He noticed she were in only place. The other guard started on the chair and her eyes were closed because of the out of pain. She didn't understand at the heat. No more. She was in hell for 2 days. She had enough. Now Jungkook was going towards the mansion. Mina was sitting beside him. She was smiling, but his mind was something at whose stage Mina was smiling, at his face was blank. He just stopped in front of the mansion and she looked at him. "I don't want to go inside. I want to go to your mansion," she said fiercely. "Just go." Tears formed into her eyes and she opened the door and walked out without saying anything. She became mad at him. "I must went of the car because I need to go mention." Jungkook frowned. "But I didn't order to do that." "They did because they hated her." Now Marlin's nose was bleeding and her poor body was numb. Her blood was dripping from it. She didn't have the stamina to open her eyes. Jeff was standing in front of her while making fun of her beauty like he ruined her beauty just by hitting. They were falling and they were laughing, but suddenly they heard the horn. They stood straight and with that separate face. And the door opened when he entered. His eyes written after seeing her over the chair in a very bad condition. He walked towards and looked at her from head to toe. She looked at him with open eyes. He made her sit straight. He carried her. This was situation and returned to the shoes aside. Evan and everyone were looking at them. He cracked her dress and she was staring at him. Then he picked her up like a. Jeff was speechless. He walked out while holding her. He put her head close to his chest while closing her eyes. He put her on here and she was looking at him and she could see only his face. He moved the ring gently and we must hurt you. And then he removed another ring and then he looked at her gently and moved another ring. Oh, okay. She didn't know what was going on, what he was doing, or what he would do. She was just looking at him.